Would you pray with me, please? Oh God, we come to hear your word. So use my mouth and my meditations to convey that to everyone here. Open the hearts of all of us so that we would hear it the way you want it heard. And then bring both of those together to show us the transformation you hope for your people. We pray your Holy Spirit upon this place at this time to lead us in the rest of our worship. And we do it all in your name. Amen. If you Google the definition of darkness, you'll find two. And I say Google because does anybody even have a dictionary anymore? Do they even still have them at school? They do, okay. But if you got your phone, you're going to Google it, right? If you Google the definition of darkness, you'll get both of those, just that soon together. It's the partial or total absence of light, or it's wickedness or evil. That's the definition of darkness. Easy to understand, isn't it? If I go away and forget to leave the lights on in the house, I will come home to darkness. Pretty easy to take care of. I just flip a switch and the darkness goes away. If I'm outside and the moon and the stars aren't shining because I happen to live in Ohio, you all understand that? Then I can use a flashlight or I can build a fire. I can get rid of the darkness very easily. But then we take that to the next level as it speaks to our faith. That it means wickedness or evil. That's a pretty deep definition. If light symbolizes God, as we've come to learn, then darkness symbolizes everything that's anti-God. Simple? Darkness symbolizes the wicked of the world. Darkness symbolizes the judgment. Darkness symbolizes sin. It symbolizes death. Darkness symbolizes everything that is anti-God. Once heard somebody smarter than me say the definition of evil and hell is the complete absence of God. The complete absence of the light. And the history of our relationship starts right at this level. Did you notice that? Gwen read to you from the very first chapter of the Bible, the very first book of the Bible. The first 5 verses tells you that in the beginning, there was darkness. The earth was covered by it. It talks about how it was chaos and the Holy Spirit hovered over the whole mess. And what's the very first thing God took care of? Did you catch that? We quoted, we think we're funny when we turn on the light in our house and we quote to our spouse, and God said, let there be light. And we click the light on. Been going on since long before you and I. The very first act of creation was to get rid of the darkness. I'm thinking that might be important to keep in the back of our minds. That the very first thing he did was separate the light from the darkness. And he even give it a name, day. And I think in the second day we talk about suns moons and stars, so that even when it's dark, it's not dark. But it goes even deeper than that. Think of what that means to your theology. Think for a moment. Do you understand that God has absolute power? God commands the darkness too. God is in charge of even the darkness and can overcome it. That's a pretty good lesson also, is it not? You have to understand this contrast between light and dark, between good and evil, if you're going to understand where we're going for the next 6 weeks. How I see Jesus and things like her. Because the next 6 weeks we are going to talk about messages based on The Wizard of Oz. And do you understand that some of you might have seen it when it first came on in the theater? I don't know. I'm not going to look at any of it because I don't want to get in any more trouble than I already am. But in 1939, this movie came out. And it's been on TV every year since, hasn't it? Well, no, because TV didn't come into existence still. Ever since TV was invented, we've watched it every year. What's usually around Thanksgiving? Is that when they usually show it? It's a staple. Everybody knows The Wizard of Oz. And there's a theme that runs through that whole movie. The two main characters are the Wicked Witch, the darkness, and Dorothy, the light. You'll hear about Dorothy in week 6, actually. It plays out for anybody who's paying attention. Let's start with the witch first, shall we? She's first introduced in the movie as this elderly. I'm trying to train myself to be a little more politically correct. I don't always succeed, but we'll try. This old lady, mean and nasty and crabby, that lives down the road. We see her first on her little bicycle with that little song. You need to learn that one now, too, I guess. Picking up Toto and telling this little girl that I'm going to have your dog killed because he chased my cat. Now, in my book, that makes him a good dog. But I guess he got in the garden too, so I can see where they might have been a little upset. And she's going to take him to the sheriff and have him put down. And then as Dorothy gets picked up by a twister, and her house spins around and lands on the Wicked Witch of the East, we see her in a whole different light. She's turned green, and she's dressed all in black. If you can't figure out the darkness now, you need to come see me for some remedial theology. The same woman, and she's surrounded by wonderful things like flying monkeys, and black forests, and evil spells. Darkness. And then the writer of the movie, or the writer of the book, was Baum. Is that his name? B-A-U-M? If I remember right. Okay, y'all got to look that up on Google. Gives us this wonderful contrast, this innocent little naive girl from Kansas, dressed in a frilly dress, who only cares about her family and her dog. Matter of fact, throughout the entire movie, I was trying to think at the first service, does she ever get mad? Even when she threw the bucket of water on the witch, she wasn't mad. She was just trying to put out the scarecrow's arm, right? Does she ever really get angry, or is she like good all the way through the movie? At the Wizard, thank you. I better look at that movie again myself. I got my secretaries back here feeding me cues. But she finds herself in front of the bad witch who wants the ruby slipper but can't have it because there's a good witch too named Glenda. I wonder where you got me from. Knowing that your mother loves The Wizard of Oz. I'm starting to figure this out. You weren't born before 1939, were you? Okay. I had to ask. But Dorothy, this naive little girl, finds herself in a strange land called Oz, where, she's got to figure out, like, who in the heck would paint a brick road yellow? And then, why are them people so short and speak with squeaky voices? Sue? You knew it was coming. And she just wants to go home. She just wants to get back to her aunt and uncle. And this good witch Glenda says, well, you need to follow that road. And Listen to the Munchkins and they'll tell you how to get there. There's this guy named the Wizard. And just go on a journey. See what you find out. That's the basic premise of the movie. And we'll be talking about the different characters as we go along. But I want to look at this story a little different. In a little different light. No pun intended. This morning. It's very easy for us to watch that movie and think, you know, it'd be nice if the flying monkeys ate her. She's mean. She's nasty. She represents people that we know in our lives, right? We want the house to fall, another house to fall out of the sky and take her with it this time. How dare she go after this little girl? That's just not right. But I want to ask you a different question. I want you to think about this. What made her evil? What made her dark? Now, she might have been born into it. But some of us were born into darkness, were we not? And we got out of it. So what's the difference? What made her decide to stay and live in that darkness? See, you'll never watch The Wizard of Oz the same when we get done, will you? You'll be looking for clues. Why did she stay there? And I think the answer, personally, is pretty obvious. She was never exposed to the light. If you never see the light, you'll live in darkness, will you not? You'll know that there's no better way to live. You'll just go with what you know is factual. Is it any? It should be a secret we're in 4th and 5th generation of poverty, because guess what? They don't know any better. It's the way they were raised. That's all they know. We ended last year and started this year proclaiming the promise we found in the birth story of John. The one that you heard Gwen repeat this morning. The one that you're going to use as your call to worship for the next 6 weeks, because I want to make sure you get it. You ought to have it memorized when we get done. The promise you recited, the fact that Jesus came to bring light to everyone, even witches and wizards and pastors. Brought light to everyone. That with his birth, the light was shining into the darkness of the world, and that the darkness could never extinguish it. The witch was a witch because she was never exposed to the light. Look around you. Isn't this story still be playing out in society today? Does darkness still exist? Does evil still show its face in all kinds of forms to people? Look around, read the newspaper, watch the news, listen to the radio. I know we have a world full of flying monkeys doing the evil one's wishes. Those who make money by bringing the darkness of addiction to others has plagued this community. Those who bring the darkness of poverty because they're green with greed. Those who bring darkness to the lives of anyone who stands between them and power or manipulation. How about the darkness of war and nuclear threat? Did you ever think we'd see the day when we're on the brink of another Cold War? How about the darkness of disease? Cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, AIDS, HIV, and the list goes on and on and on, and it brings darkness to a light world. How about the evil of abuse or sexual exploitation? In Ohio, Toledo, the #1 place in the entire nation for the exploitation and sexual slavery. Gee, there's just something we ought to be proud of, huh? How can you live in a world where 15-year-old girls get taken by their teachers from Tennessee to California? I'm guessing they weren't just playing gin rummy. Whether she was willing or not, it's still abuse, isn't it? You all made real good decisions at the age of 15? darkness all around us. Evil and darkness still exist today. And here's the shame. Most of the time we act like munchkins. We point our fingers. We cower in the shade so that nobody can see us. We affix blame. And here's the one that you'll hear almost every day of every week. If you hang out with the same crowds that I hang out with, is they deserve what they get. No wonder darkness still exists. But that's not what Jesus calls us to do, is it? Not to point our fingers or do any of that other stuff. Jesus calls us in a whole different direction. I'm going to share a story with you. We've shared it before, and Pastor Becky, as a matter of fact, I believe used it at the beginning of the Lenten series that she just finished up. But I want you to look at it in a different light. I want you to look at it and see what I'm seeing. One of the Pharisees asked Jesus to have dinner with him, so Jesus went to his home and sat down to eat. When a certain immoral woman from that city heard he was eating there, she brought a beautiful alabaster jar filled with expensive perfume. Then she knelt behind him at his feet, weeping. Her tears fell on his feet, and she wiped them off with her hair. Then she kept kissing his feet and putting perfume on them. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, if this man were a prophet, he would know what kind of woman is touching him. She's a sinner. Then Jesus answered his thoughts. Simon, he said to the Pharisee, I have something to say to you. Well, go ahead, teacher, Simon replied. Then Jesus told him this story. A man loaned money to two people, 500 pieces of silver to one and 50 pieces to the other. But neither of them could repay him. So he kindly forgave them both, canceling their debts. Who do you suppose loved me more after that? Simon answered, well, I suppose the one for whom he canceled the larger debt. That's right, Jesus said. Then he turned to the woman and said to Simon, look at this woman kneeling here. When I entered your home, you didn't offer me water to wash the dust from my feet, but she has washed them with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You didn't greet me with a kiss, but from the time I first came in, she has not stopped kissing my feet. You neglected the courtesy of olive oil to anoint my head, but she has anointed my feet with rare perfume. I tell you, her sins, and they are many, have been forgiven. So she has shown me much love. But a person who is forgiven little shows only little love. And Jesus said to the woman, your sins are forgiven. The men at the table said among themselves, who is this man that he goes around forgiving sins? And Jesus said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. So you've got a contrast just like with the witch and Dorothy. You actually have a same kind of contrast in that story. The good, the light is represented by a Pharisee. You know, the preacher. He's supposed to be upstanding, is he not? He's supposed to keep the church in order, is he not? He's supposed to obey all the rules and make sure so does everybody else, does he not? He's the light. And into that light wanders the darkness. We feel sorry for the woman, but I have news for you. In this story, she actually represents the darkness. She is a sinner, it tells you. Not only is she a sinner, it tells you what kind of sinner. It says that she is immoral. So you can attach whatever sexual connotation you want to that, because that's what immorality is it not? Whether she be an adulteress, whether she be a prostitute, whether she be both. She was dark. Living in the darkness. And we don't know from this story. There are some people that believe that Jesus had met her before this story. There are some people that believe that she just heard about his reputation and found out that he was going to be in town. And for some reason, she finally decides, this isn't right. I got to do something. I'm tired of the dark. I'm tired of living this way. I'm tired of what people look at me and say. And from the judge of that, and Jesus says that her sins were many, I'm guessing she knew just about every man in the city. So Jesus gets this invitation to supper or dinner or whatever at Simon's house, the Pharisee, and he goes and see, it's customary in that culture at that time that there would be a servant inside the front door to wash your feet and dry them before you entered the house and sat down, because the streets were not the most sanitary things that you wanted to walk on in that day and age. Matter of fact, if you look at some of the old archaeological pictures, you'll see a trough runs right down the middle. Well, guess what that trough carried? That was their answer to indoor plumbing. And then the host would kiss them on the cheek as they came in, and there was olive oil so that they could anoint their own heads, or maybe the host would anoint it for them. That was custom. That was done all of them. But not today. Jesus walked in, and of course he's already got a reputation, and the Pharisees and stuff don't like him already, and he gets in and pretty much I'm like, okay, you sit over there. He sits kind of a misnomer. They didn't sit on a chair, they reclined on cushions at the table. And about that time, this woman walks in, this woman of ill repute, this sinner. Oh my goodness. And kneels down behind Jesus. And you see, it wasn't uncustomary for people to come in, and people of little means would sit in the room around the wall, and the guys would throw their scraps to them. You think that wasn't the meaning? They got to eat the table scraps like dogs. But she didn't come in and sit along the wall. She came in and sat behind Jesus on the floor. And she wasn't very good at this. She didn't keep her demeanor. Most of you might have smacked one of your children if they acted this way in public. She starts bawling. She starts bawling. Even if she had not had Jesus before, she at least knew of his reputation and what he was all about. This was going to be the moment her life was transformed, because the sinner is crying so hard. Her tears are washing his feet. And I get this picture. Have you ever watched a drop of water fall into dust and you see that little spray of dust come up? I could just see that in my mind. I can see riddles where the tears are running down his feet, washing them, and you can see the dirt path. And she washes her feet with wet tears and then dries them with her hair. Not a towel, her hair. And kisses them the whole time. Finally, she opens the jar. An alabaster jar, it tells us. One of the others, the Gospels tells us it was filled full of, they even tell us the name of it, nard or something, which traditionally was used to anoint bodies that died. It would have cost her at least a month's wages to buy this perfume. And she pours it all over Jesus' feet. And Simon, the light, says under his breath or in his own head, says, "Oh, obviously he's not the prophet he's told us he is, because if he was, he'd know what kind of girl that was. And he would not be touching her." You see, in the religious establishment of the day, they kept her in the dark. You wouldn't have talked to her, you wouldn't have let her touch you, you wouldn't have given her the time of day, let alone let her wash and kiss your feet because she was crying so hard. And he tells the story about, okay, if I forgive somebody this much and I forgive somebody else this much, which one's going to be more thankful? Even Simon got that one right. Catch this. Jesus did not shut the darkness out, did he? Jesus did not point his finger and say, "You're going to hell." Jesus did not condemn her. Jesus did not tell her about all the nasty things she had done. Jesus did not hold her even accountable for what she had done. Jesus saw a broken creature, one of his own Father's children, and he shined a light on her. The ones that were supposed to shine a light didn't, but Jesus did. As a matter of fact, he kind of told the Pharisee, you're the one in the dark. You see the model we're supposed to follow? We're supposed to be that kind of a light bearer in a broken and sinful world. There are more people outside this building than are in this building today. You are, at least most of you, I hope and pray, are in the light. Some of you are still finding your way. I'm okay with that. I'll just put in a bigger ball. But what about the ones out there? Do we not care? Are we just going to let them sit in the dark? Are we going to be like the Pharisee and point our fingers and condemn them and decide on our own that they're not worth the trouble? That's not the model Jesus just gave us at that. By any means. We want everybody to get to the point where they know Him so well that they can't help but cry into. We spent January talking about the light. We proclaimed that this was going to be the year of the light. We were going to examine how this light's going to shine and break the darkness. The Christmas tree is still there. We put the cross in it and lit it, and you'll see that until next Christmas. When if we're lucky, they'll let them take the cross out and just go back to the Christmas tree. We then launched into a flurry of ideas of how to defeat the darkness, and you all got a chance to share some of those ideas with us, and you signed another form, and I asked you, where's your passion? If you could wave a magic wand and do away with one of these 5 areas that you've decided is the darkness, you tell me which one it is. So now we're going to bring those two together. Starting here in a couple of weeks, probably, we'll start having meetings in those areas, and wherever you sign up, you'll be invited. And we'll give you a list of all the things and ideas that people gave. We might not even have them all yet. Matter of fact, I'm guessing the way God works, we don't have them all yet. You'll come up with some more on your own. And then we'll choose from there which ones we're going to be putting into practice and how we're going to dispel the darkness and show God's love to others. We want to be Jesus, not the witch. But I want to bring all the witches out of the darkness and into the light. Then we win. Then we win. Our choice is to either perpetuate the darkness or to spread the light and penetrate it instead. We can choose to live in a community of witches or a community of Dorothy's, to be surrounded by flying monkeys or surrounded by lovable little munchkins. Dorothy melted her darkness with a bucket of water. We'll melt ours with the gospel of Jesus Christ. God's already given us the light. We already possess it. We already know it. The only question we have to figure out is how to shine it into the darkest recesses of people's lives. We have to tell them about Jesus. Amen.